So something happened recently on an episode of Talking Smack, the talk show that takes place after a wrestling show SmackDown, that blew my fucking nips off, when Miz cut what could be a career-changing promo going off on one and tearing ex-wrestler Daniel Bryan a new arsehole. Now, if you haven't already seen it, go watch it at the link in the description below, before you watch this, because I'm about to talk about storytelling, kayfabe, and why this shit is fucking amazing, with heavy detail on everything that happened in the interview. You done? You watched it? You all good? Mint in it. Where do we begin with this one? Well, first off, let's talk about what's actually being discussed here and the context behind it. At face value, what we have here is an argument, one that might be scripted, might be real, might be a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, we don't know for sure. All we know for certain is this argument takes place between Daniel Bryan and The Miz. Now, these two guys have both been pretty big players in a WWE ring. Both have held multiple championships, including the world titles, but aside from that, their careers are pretty much binary opposites. Bryan trained as a wrestler and fought around the world, making his way up by starting off grappling in community centres before hitting the grandest stage of them all. Miz was discovered through reality television. Disgusting. Our Daniel would never be associated with any of that shit. That one doesn't count. It's a W. It's a WWE one, so it doesn't. The wrestling style and in-ring persona are also completely different. Daniel, very technical, fast, jumpy, and probably best known for his super love babyface run. I mean, look at him. He's fucking adorable. Miz is famous for his heel work, being a snivelly little shitbag character, and his in-ring work is often criticised for being a bit soft, which in the Talking Smack promo, Bryan mentions and is the reason it all kicks off. Daniel says Miz wrestles like a coward. Miz points out at least he can still fucking wrestle because his style didn't give him a career-ending injury that Bryan sustained. Holy shit, Miz! Not pulling any punches there, lad. You should open a bar with shots that cheap. Now, I don't want to get into the actual discussion of whose side I sit on with this. We're not here to talk about the whole sports entertainment versus wrestling debate. What I'm always interested in is storytelling, and what a bloody good story this one tells. This is the kind of thing that you can point to and say, you see this? You see this shit? See, all forms of storytelling are valid, including wrestling. Because this is the kind of narrative you can only tell in a wrestling format, because it relies heavily on a narrative device that is almost absolutely exclusive to wrestling. Kayfabe. Kayfabe, in case you don't know, is that world in which everything that happens in wrestling is inherently real. It's generally only kids that believe in it these days. It's wrestling Santa or the Tooth Fairy. Most adults understand that wrestling is a work, that it's this scripted TV show with athletes in place of actors fighting in predetermined events. Well, except for The Undertaker, though, we all know he's really a zombie wizard. And before you get your knickers in a twist and go, nah, he's just part of the show, man, I would just like to point out that I've seen him shoot lightning, so sit down, aye, calm your passions. Anyway, during their verbal clash, The Miz and D-Bry seem to break kayfabe, which is like the wrestling equivalent of breaking the fourth wall, and start shouting about legit behind-the-scenes issues, like in-ring styles, the independent circuits, and injuries, in what feels like and may very well be a raw, passionate argument. Now, what's interesting is when movies and theatre plays break the fourth wall, it's for the most part a fun way to remind you it's just entertainment. It's like a conscious choice to break immersion. Wrestling, however, seems to be able to break the fourth wall and increase immersion. What other format can do that? Sure, you can give narrative explanations for why characters might break the fourth wall. Deadpool, for example, is a character known for doing this all the time, but he still reminds you that you're reading a comic whenever he tears through its pages. When Leo chats shit at you in Wolf of Wall Street, you don't suddenly think the movie is real. But when Miz and Bryan have this fight that shatters that kayfabe construction, it becomes more believable and more involving. It doesn't shatter immersion, it aids it. Now, my money is on this being a work, but the fact that I can even doubt that for a second means I'm buying into it. We all are. Just look at the views on the thing. It's crazy high for an interview. And it's because we're invested. We're falling for it. A part of us believes what we are seeing. Wrestling is the only format where the writers can go, ooh, look, this is real. And we'll go, oh, okay, though, it's not really real, though, is it? Then the writers will go, okay, it's not real. And have us go, holy shit, this is real. It's crazy. Breaking kayfabe is the new kayfabe. And you know what's really cool? This is a story that exists on 2 levels. Now, whoever side you're on in the argument, it's clear to see that Miz verbally destroyed Daniel Bryan, and a lot of people are focusing on the out of kayfabe story that tells because it brings us some interesting discussions. Yes, Daniel Bryan's right, you should give it all in your matches, because that makes for a better show, and he gave us some all-time classics as a result. But he did get injured badly, so... And Miz is right to say his style keeps him wrestling. But, let's play a game where we name our favourite Miz matches. Go! Okay, I can't do that, but to his credit, I can name my favourite Miz promo. Spoilers, it's fucking this one. Now, it's all good to look at the history of both competitors as individuals and discuss the implications of this out of kayfabe story they're telling, but I don't think enough people have mentioned their in-universe narrative and how brilliant this continues it. If you think back to Daniel Bryan's early days in NXT, The Miz played an important part in his arc. A number of people on the main show were required to pick out of a bunch of NXT rookies who they would like to mentor. The Miz picked Daniel Bryan, an act which made for the catalyst of Daniel Bryan's eventual rise to beat Miz, snatching the US title from his pro in a Padawan becomes the master moment before his rise to superstardom. Now, the thing with wrestling is that it's an adaptive beast. Obviously, WWE didn't write for Daniel Bryan to get seriously injured, or did they? No, they didn't, but it happened both in reality and in storyline, so they gotta work off that. And so, at least for the moment, we found ourselves at an amazing point in a story we thought was over, where the villain has won. Daniel Bryan may have won the battle against The Miz, taking that US belt and going on to stardom, but he's lost the war because Miz is still going. And even though Daniel Bryan won the belt at WrestleMania 30, even though he's a guaranteed Hall of Famer, even though he's now The Miz's boss, The Miz still has the one thing that matters most to Daniel that now he can never have: the ability to wrestle. And it's in this promo, with absolute intensity, The Miz lays that all out for us and reminds us that when the hero reaches his lowest point, The Miz is still Daniel Bryan's pro. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. Something a bit different, something I've not done before. I don't know that this will become a series. I don't really know what I'd do with it. I guess maybe analyse wrestling storylines from a narrative perspective, if that would be something you'd be interested in, and how it sort of fits into like ideas of writing characters and story arcs. If that's something you want to see, like give us a comment, let us know. Otherwise, feel free to like and subscribe. Don't worry, this isn't going to affect the film content on the channel. I'm still going to be putting out that. And yeah, I don't ever know how to sign these things off. So